Hi, Brilliant. Hi, Artik. Hi, Sunita.
Hi, Ravi. All right.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. A very good evening and welcome to Symposium number 3. A few ground rules before we get started with today's session of the symposium with the district directors. I will request all of you to kindly keep your video switched off and except, of course, our panelists. You all have to keep your videos on at all points in time. But non-panelists, have your videos off and please enable non-video participants switched off settings on Zoom. This will ensure that you're able to view all our panelists together at one time on one common screen. And while we obviously try and spotlight them, but since we have almost 7 people in the panel session right now, it's better if you can do this. You all will be muted by default. In case you have any questions to ask, please put them on the chat and we will read them out and we will take it with the panelists also. It's going to be a 2 hour interesting session. We're going to have questions. You'll learn something more about the district directors apart from the roles that they hold over here. Have a little fun. Sunita has promised to sing and dance for us as well. And there'll be some poll questions where I will ask you all to engage with us. Not going to take a lot more time and getting started directly with the symposium because this is not my stage time, it is stage time of a moderator and the panelists. Let me introduce you to, for a change, I'm getting a chance to introduce my area director for area S5, Sunita Vinod. So Sunita herself has been in the print, radio, television, and digital for almost 18 years. I don't know if I'm just 21 years old. I just turned 21 last week. And she has 18 years of experience in media, dance, music, and movies. In that particular order is what she's passionate about. I asked her what about Toastmaster, and she's like, Hardik, read the rest of the bio, you'll understand that better. Has been a copywriter, programmed and produced radio shows, been an associate programming head at a radio station, and also trying her voice at being a radio jockey for an online radio station. Today she's going to be a video jockey or a video moderator for today's session of Symposium number 3. She's been a Toastmasters in the last 3 years. She's here to trade what she knows in order to learn from others as well. So I think a few questions can come your way, Sunita, as well, but I'll leave the stage over to you, Sunita, our panel moderator for today's meeting.
Thank you so much, Hardik, for that very well-written introduction of mine. It seemed quite heartfelt, actually. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Symposium number 3. Now, what does leadership mean? It would appear to be the capacity to look ahead, think ahead, plan ahead, and then influence other people to go ahead on the plan. This is as quoted by founder of Toastmaster International, Ralph C. Smedley. Now, Google the term leadership or leader, and you will find hundreds of quotes and definition on the same. Some say it is an individual charismatic enough that people can follow, whilst others say a leader is someone who is willing to follow his or her people. Leader is someone who should have a vision, plan, and so on. Let's clear our confusion today and talk to our leaders themselves. Today on the panel, I have the pleasure of introducing those gentlemen who were all successful in not letting Toastmaster remain the best kept secret. They served their district role with finesse and have kept taking our District 98 only ahead. Without taking much of your time, let me welcome our panel members one by one, starting with a gentleman who is a double postgraduate, an engineer, an HR professional, comes with more than 18 years of experience across the industry, known for his wit and instant humor. He's an avid public speaker, trainer, and mentor. Joined Toastmasters in 2009 and has worked up his way to be the Lieutenant Governor, Education and Training. He's currently serving as the parliamentarian for District 98 and was the first district director for District 98 in 2015. Let's give a virtual round of applause and welcome onto the screen distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Brilliant SK.
Thank you so much. Good to see all of you.
So Brilliant, your first question coming your way. What was your experience with respect to the challenges and achievements as being the first district director for District 98?
Wow. It takes me to a very simple analogy that I would like to share with all of you. Hope I'm audible, visible.
Yes, you are.
So I believe that giving birth is easy. Giving birth to a child is very easy. Nurturing it, especially during the initial days, is one hell of a job. And those days I had literally two babies. One, my son Ved, and the other baby was District 98. And District 98, we all know, came from a well established and a team where we had a fixed mindset where people always believed हमारे यहाँ पे ऐसा ही होता है. And when we became District 98, we were all alone. Literally, with no money, no support, only with a song. आंखों में सपने लिए घर से हम चल तो दिए जाने ये राहें अब ले जाएंगी कहाँ. And that was something which made me think I cannot do it alone. Each and every single district officer of my team believed in what I set forth as the simplest and the achievable goal for District 98. That was, together we are 100%. Working as a single force to achieve President's Distinguished District. Times were tough, the tides were rough, but we continued to believe in possibilities. And if I look at it from how the experience has been, I would say being a hardcore non-vegetarian, married to a vegetarian, I believe that sticking to something which is purely vegetarian is very difficult. So I always believed in the fact that standards are set by norms, but there's always a better way to do things. So instead of looking at saying this is how we do it here, we decided to think about what one wise person had said, KFC. I know if I'm speaking, there has to be an acronym. So this is the first acronym for you. KFC. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken. They have not given me any royalty. Otherwise, I would have said yes. It is Keepo, Feko, Chango, which means keep what works. Feko, which means remove what doesn't. And Chango, which means repair that things that need repair. And I'll say the journey has not been a smooth ride for all of us. And I'm sorry Arvind could not be here on this call today, but Chandra, Arvind and I, we remember each and every day of the journey as a part of the trio, when every single day was like testing us to and pushing us hard, saying no, people are saying no, you will not be able to achieve it. And this beautiful journey, when we achieved President's Distinguished status and became world number 9 in the first year of inception, was a moment of pride. And this is an anecdote that I would like to share with you, Sunita. It's coincidence that when I became club president, the year had 366 days because 2000 was a leap year. When I became the district director, year 2016 had an extra day in February. So I had one day for celebration. And I had mentioned it to my district leaders that we will keep one single day for celebration. 30th June, I took the team from Mumbai for a grand celebration. It was marked in the calendars. Come what may, we will do it. And we achieved it. And that day, I released a wonderful video. I say wonderful because I made it a lot of pain and efforts, where you will see Chandra and Arvind also along with me on that bike ride. That captures the entire essence. So it's been one hell of a ride, one experience which I will treasure for my lifetime, and something that I can never ever forget. For the benefit of all the members who have not seen the video, I'm posting it on chat. You may watch it at leisure. So that is the gist of the journey, which says that we began with a purpose in mind, saying that that's where I want to reach, and we did reach there.
Thank you so much, brilliant. I mean, that sounds like quite a ride. I guess when somebody just gives you something new, it's like giving you all the parts and now saying fix it. And you found a way probably, and you've created a new path and broken the age old belief, how people say that हमारे यहाँ ऐसा ही होता है. You've probably changed that, and we can see that. And I'm sure that it was taken forward by the next district director. And this is the
Absolutely.
time now for me to call our next guest. And our next guest on the panel is someone who has over 16 years of experience in the education space and serves as the CEO of the Jain Group of Institutions. He's a Rex Karamveer Global Education Change Champions Fellow 2019 and was ranked 7th in Education World's ranking of 33 young rising stars of Indian education in March 2017. He is a TEDx speaker and a President's Distinguished District Director of Toastmasters International in 2016-17. Let's give a virtual round of applause and welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Chandrasekhar DP PhD, popularly known as CSK. Welcome, CSK.
Thank you very much, and good evening, all of you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, CSK, for you, I have a question. Since you were the second district director for District 98, I guess like Brilliant just said, that हमारे यहाँ ऐसा नहीं होता है is what his whole idea was when he started off. But 1 year is too less to show results for a newly implemented plan. When you took over, did you wipe the slate clean or try to enhance the previous plans and add it onto it?
Well, thank you very much, Sunita. It's a pleasure to be here, as I said, and it's nice to go back in time and relook at what we did and how we did it. I want to start off by wishing all my fellow Toastmasters and also the distinguished Club of District Directors. It's nice to connect on this forum, Symposium number 3. And Hardik, thank you so much for bearing up with all my whatever you may use the word, but thanks for having me over. Now, getting back to the question, I come from an education industry, and it's a very commonly held belief here where the first 5 years in any child's life journey is very important because 85% of the brain's development happens in the first 5 to 6 years. Now, with that being the prelude, I would like to take your question. Yes, we did try to wipe the slate clean every now and then. Now, make no mistake when I say that we were busy wiping the slate clean, is to only make sure that the slate contains at the end, when people look back and read, all the good things and the right things on it. So it was not about trying to say that, okay, I should not be removing things which have been done. But at the end of the day, it was togetherness which brought us to wipe the slate clean. Let me give you something which not many people know about this. When you enter into a district leadership term, it is not your 1 year of district directorship. It is a 5 year journey. It's a 5 year journey, which means whether you are a club road director or a program quality director or a district director or an immediate past district director, you are a part of the whole thing. Whether the district achieves laurels or blames, you are responsible and you have to take responsibility. Now, when Brilliant started off the year, the beginning of the planning for that year, which may be a leap year, but I'm sure Brilliant agrees with me, began 2 years before. So the together we are 98 or together 98 becomes 100 is only spelt out in the year when he took charge as the district director. And I still very clearly and vividly remember the speech with his son on one hand and the mic in the other. He gave that acceptance speech and took over the reins of the district 98. So this being the thing, it's always a team effort. So when I say yes, I continued in my term, if you want to refer only to that 1 year when I was called the district director, that yes, there was together we are 100%, but then we also added the right way or not the easy way kind of an acronym or whatever you want to call the theme, and then we took it forward. So the whole idea, whether it is Arvind or Ravi or Venkata or Nitesh and any others who will join the club, is basically that it's a passing the baton kind of a game. It's not, I may be the finisher for that year who's running the race, but at the end of the day, the race is never over. It is going to continue because I'm finishing the line and handing over the baton to the next person who is at the beginning of that finish line. So that context, we need to keep it going and growing. I'm happy that D98 has grown, and maybe in the next 6 months, we will be delivering few more babies in the whole context. As Brilliant said, delivering is easy, but now we have proven that even giving birth, grooming, and nurturing to make sure that it further multiplies is also easier. Thank you. Thank you, Sunita.
Okay. Thank you so much, Toastmasters CSK. I think it is safe to say that you all were not passing on a baton, but you were passing on a baby to each other, because I think Toastmaster was a baby to Brilliant, and he understood that how nurturing is difficult, and he passed it on to CSK, and CSK figured out that first 5 years, 85% of brain development, put in more effort, wipe the slate clean, put the good things so that we can nurture this baby even better. And I guess then you passed on the baby to our next district director, who was distinguished Toastmaster Arvind Nair. He was supposed to be with us on this panel, but he couldn't because of a personal reason. But I think I should still read out and let you all know the achievements that he did while he was a district director. And he basically have done a lot. And even for me, he's a mentor too. So I would like to just read out what he has done for us. As distinguished as the District 98 District Director from 2017 to 18, he had joined as a Toastmaster in, sorry. Okay. He held several executive positions at his home club from 2008 onwards, and has since then served as an area governor and a division governor, leading the respective area and division to become President's Distinguished, and was recognized as one of the 3 best division governors of District 48 during 2013-14. He has been a member of District 82, District 41, and now District 98. He was part of the first trio of District 98, and he served as the District Director for District 98 in 2017-18. He is currently advisor to Division B, M, and S for Mumbai District 98. As he was unable to join us, I will move on to our next guest on the panel, who is an IT professional from Hyderabad. He had been part of the trio when they achieved the President's Distinguished status, as he was the club director then. They again achieved it when he was the Program Quality Director, and he later served as the District Director of District 98 in the year 2018-2019. And during his tenure, he achieved the Smedley Distinguished District Director Award. Let's welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Ravi Teja.
Hi, Sunita. Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Ravi. So I guess now Distinguished Toastmaster Arvind passed on to you a 4-year-old baby. So you seem to be basically the first and the only district director of District 98 to achieve the Smedley Distinguished District Director Award. What was your plan and action to achieve this?
Right. I think the baby that Brilliant, Chandra, and Arvind are talking is me. I have come in that 4th year as literally as a baby, and I think and when I took up the district directorship, I had the honor of more importantly the friendship of my previous 3 district directors. In fact, I have worked with them. As Chandra said, I have worked with them from the time when I was an area director till the district director role. So to say that in my term I was able to achieve Smedley Distinguished is like Trump telling that he was able to recover from the economic breakdown just because he became a president that particular year. So I mean, for any matter, the title changed or the recognition changed, but I think I've just built on what my predecessors have already done. And for me, from a planning perspective, I am of the firm opinion that I District 98 has given me riches when I became a district director. Riches in terms of the kind of people who are willing to serve in the team, the kind of competition that I had, which I'm sure Brilliant Chandra, or for that matter Arvind, did not have that luxury of choosing people from a big lot, but I had. And it was quite a journey for that very particular year and for that very particular reason, because I had help every single time. Otherwise I don't think I would have gone through what I did when I lost one of my trio member, or the time when I got married. That's quite a stopgap thing that happened, and I had to travel for my work to UK for a couple of months. And I wouldn't have done any of that if at all my District 98 leaders aren't with me. And for me, this standout, if at all somebody has to point out at one reason why Smedley Distinguished, or we were able to achieve Smedley Distinguished Director, is I had wonderful equations with every member of the District 98 fraternity, and more importantly, the district team that it had. And I think I was only listening to them and being there in meetings. Rest everything they did. So I am just fortunate to be served with the upbringing that I had from Brilliant Chandra and Arvind, which I tried to pass on to Venkata and Nitesh later on.
Thank you, Ravi. I think, as usual, you're very humble in letting everyone know how people are helping and supporting you. And very cheekily, you wanted to be the baby of the entire line of district directors, so you can retain that position. And moving on to our next district director. Our next guest is a Toastmaster since 2005, a charter member of Hyderabad Toastmaster Club. He's the Presidential Award recipient in the year 2017 and presently the immediate past District Director of District 98. Please help me welcome onto the panel Toastmaster Venkata Ramana Dittakavi.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sunita.
Good evening. Now, as it is, I think everyone knows that your name is Venkata Ramana Dittakavi. I guess they also call you VRD. So if I just call you VR, it becomes virtual reality. And I guess you are the first district director who had half a term virtual and half a term non-virtual. So how was your experience moving on to the virtual world? How different was it from being in person and meeting people in person?
Good evening, everyone. Once again, it is not half a year. I think from March only we were into lockdown. So since then, I think it's only 4 months. You all know I had the government background. I work for the postal department. Everyone knows, everyone feels that these government employees have no responsibilities. They don't have any challenges. I take cue from that. Actually, there is no challenge for me when we are moving into virtual meetings and the virtual world of Toastmasters. Why I am saying this is, as Ravi rightly said, we have fantastic Toastmasters in District 98. Really amazing leaders. I don't know when the challenge came, when we went through, and my next district director took over. It all happened just like that. See, during March, I think it came, it was just the contest season began. Everything we had instructions from TI that everything should be only on virtual. By the time we think our team prepared everything, how to go about it, they tested. I think Mayuri is here on the event also. She took up the challenge as the chief judge. All the leaders, they put their best efforts to give the best experience and remove whatever challenges even clubs have, areas have, divisions have. Actually, I did not do anything. Entire thing was done by the team. Whatever they wanted, just I gave it that shot. I say yes. So there is actually, you have to believe, for Toastmasters, there is no challenge. They are ready to take up in the rise up to the occasion. That proved. I can say once again, I repeat it, I proved, District 98 Toastmasters proved it is nothing. Actually, there is no challenge as such. At club level, area level, division level, district level, we had virtual meetings, well planned. I think the first ever time district council meeting held virtually. First ever time from the TI officers attended our DCM. Despite all these things, our leaders proved that we can face all these challenges. And they rose up to the occasion. Actually, there was no challenge. We proved we Toastmasters can do anything. Whatever learnings we had, we put in effort. Here, this juncture, I must put on record the credentials team of District 98 that year. They put a fantastic effort. They proved it. The DCM went very smoothly. Brilliant is here, and Ravi was here, is here. They can say, they can vouch what I am saying is true. Our leaders, our Toastmasters can face any challenge. They are not challenges. Just they come, they face it. That's it. That's all, Sunita. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkata, for that. I believe then it's safe to say that whether you're the first district director or the last or the middle, you are one family, and there is nothing that anyone does without the support of each other. And that's how this moves ahead. But I guess you're being too modest to say that I did nothing, everybody else did it. Because what happens is, unless there isn't a leader to follow or to guide, it's difficult to do things. So I would give all the credit also to you for a smooth transition. I guess the competitions and contests that happened in March was very well organized the way it was, and it all goes down from district director to the next district officers. So thank you again for the time and effort that you put in that here. And moving on to our next guest, our final guest on the panel is someone who's an IT professional since last 11 years and has been recognized for innovation, customer service, leadership, and going the extra mile. Over 9 years, he has served on various leadership roles and committees, which contributed in record-breaking brand awareness, membership, and club growth, along with adding 10 plus new cities for District 98. He is a family man who loves to spend time with his son and is following his passion for photography. Fellow members, please give a virtual round of applause to the current District Director of District 98, Distinguished Toastmaster Nitesh Agarwal.
Thank you, Sunita, for that warm welcome.
Welcome, Nitesh. Now, you started and perhaps even might end your current term, I believe, in the virtual world. What are the challenges that you are facing? Is it any different from it would have been if it was otherwise?
I believe rather than calling it a challenge, I would say an opportunity that we got. As Venkata sir said, that District 98 does not see all these things as challenges. You know, we being, human likes to be around people. We are social animals, and being around people, you pick up a lot of cues. You can read each other's energy. You can pick up non-verbal cues. So there is a lot of non-verbal communication that happens, which is being missed in this online world. So when we start a year, when we had to set a vision, give a goal to the team, what are we trying to accomplish for our members? It is bit I would say we need to improvise, we need to be innovative. And I always banked upon the past district directors for their experience. Chandrasekhar was very open, and he immediately agreed to conduct a session for program quality directors, how best we can utilize the online learning tool, having the background experience that he brings. So likewise, every past district directors comes with an experience that they shared with me. What are the best things that we can put in place? And since we do not have a run book in place for such situations, neither Toastmaster International had, every member, every leader chipped in with their ideas, with their suggestions, and we together as a family tried to evolve and find a better path for the success of District 98. I remember last January 2019 when we were there for the media training. Daniel Rex, there was one of the thing I told Daniel Rex that Toastmasters International is not providing us with this, with that, and he told me one thing, Nitesh, you can also do that, and I would be happy to incorporate whatever you have come up and put it on the website for other districts to use it. He said that if you expect everything for the world headquarters to do, then it's going to take a lot of time. But if you want to contribute and make it available for everyone, then everyone can play a role. And that is what we have been doing since July. We are trying to play a part to contribute all the resources that is needed to run a district in an online world. So rather than terming it as a challenge, I would say it was an opportunity for all the leaders to gain new experience, which is going to be a new normal in few years. For example, TCS, HCL, Infosys, they are going to have majority of workforce working from home. So you require communication and leadership skills leading a team online remotely. And it's not easy. In last 9 months, leading a team remotely for me has been a challenge because a lot of time members have bandwidth challenge and they keep their video switched off. So you're actually speaking to a blank screen. So all these challenges, despite that, Toastmaster skills of influencing, persuading others, motivating others is something that is coming to our help. If we choose the right words, as Mohammad Khatani said, if you choose the right words, you can bring a lot of difference. And that is what we have been doing. So to summarize, Sunita, more than a challenge, an excellent opportunity we got, and hopefully we do not get this opportunity again in future. I just wish this pandemic gets over and we all are running. I mean, we are all participating in Toastmasters as we used to.
Thank you so much, Nitesh. I don't know if we are all choosing the right words, but I'm sure that we all chose the right leaders, because we can actually see the infant now as a toddler, and it's only growing and it's going to go ahead, and probably that's how it's going to be, and that's the path that District 98 leaders have chosen for us. And thank you once again for that wonderful introduction on your leadership journey. Moving on, I would actually now like to try and get some responses from you all, depending on your journey from your initial days. Now, since Nitesh, you're already again on Spotlight, I would like to start with you with this one. So these are
All right.
just few basic questions about your initial journeys when you started off Toastmasters.
Right.
I would like to know which were the club XCOM roles that you took before you even thought of becoming a district director. What are the club XCOM roles that you had taken?
All right. So I started my journey as a club XCOM by taking a VP membership, and then I was pushed on to president, and then I was pushed on to area director. That is where I started my initial district leadership journey, and parallelly I did went through all the roles that is there in club XCOM, so that I prepare myself. As many roles I take up in district, I bring contribution to the club roles.
Okay, so VPM, president, and district director. Great. So one quality you think that you took from your XCOM role to your personal or your professional life? Is there any incident that you remember, any quality that you started honing from these roles?
Absolutely. So, as VP membership, I was called LIC agent only because I did not know where to stop. I was so empowered and, uh, feeling so happy to be part of this wonderful organization. I felt that, I can spread the benefits of it by talking to other people. And since I was going overboard, they thought that I may be getting a commission. Nevertheless, it taught me a very valuable lesson that every leader should go through it, that you should be ready to hear no. A lot of leaders expect that whenever you give a task, it should be done. You are not in a habit of hearing no. And when you are in a voluntary organization, you cannot force people to do anything. You have to make them be part of that particular task. They should be feeling that task, that it is important for them to do it. So it requires a lot of skills for the person to be self driven rather than being pushed. So hearing no during my VP membership days and president was very difficult, Sunita. I you know i got into conflicts many times, and president really did get into my mind. It was the toughest 6 months. We were president distinguished, and we won the golden gavel, which is also the diamond club for district 98. But the journey was not easy. There was one person who was serving as the VP membership. He was actually a leader in the company, and I was an individual contributor. And in 6 months, he saw me evolve and mature in my leadership role. And he immediately went to the site leader and said, I think Nitesh is ready for leadership role in the company. So, these are some of the valuable lessons that I learned by serving as Club Excom.
Great to hear, but I still want to know, did you get commission?
I believe apart from the sponsor pin, I did not get anything else.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, can I have Brilliant on the spotlight, please? Brilliant. Who introduced you to Toastmasters, and what made you actually continue to stay one?
Okay, so this goes back to my original story that I had about how I joined Toastmasters. And I want to tell you, unlike people who would say that they joined Toastmasters for bettering their communication skills or becoming a good leader, I joined Toastmasters to lose weight. Yes, you heard it right. I joined Toastmasters to lose weight. I used to be a part of a youth organization called Rotract, and I was there with them for a long 11 years. And after that, it was nothing. It was a complete silence, a blank canvas, and I was just lazing around with the remote, just switching channels. Those days, we did not have Netflix, Amazon, Prime, or the likes. So it was the good old cable TV with 120 channels, and each time there is an advertisement, I would just click and switch. And my wife was getting upset. Vaishali would always say, "क्या तू दिन भर टीवी के सामने बैठा रहता है, कुछ काम करता नहीं है?" And she would shout out and scream out for me to run errands, and I will just be there and suddenly increase the volume and stay stuck. And that's when Arvind, who used to be Vaishali's colleague at the Times of India group, spoke about this program called as Toastmasters, and she instantly said, "Huh, he likes to talk. Probably he will enjoy this, and maybe he'll move out of that couch and stop becoming a couch potato." That was the entry. So, in the real sense, it was my wife who pushed me to Toastmasters, and I just went there because she said you have to go. I had no clue about what it is. I just went there as if I knew everything, very brash, rude, arrogant, thinking I know everything. I sat back, wanted to enjoy the process, but I was switched off. And suddenly I was called for the table topics. And I went there, something happened, I came back. And I don't know, after that, I kept thinking, did I say this? Did I say this? I could have said this. And that thing kept repeating in my mind all through. In the end, when the charter president, Arun Vishwanathan, was handing out the ribbons for best speaker, I was invited as the best table topic speaker, and I was zapped. I said, okay. I went back, I researched a lot about Toastmasters for almost 2-3 months. I spent understanding, and I realized there is so much of value that I decided to jump in. And as I said, everything that you do needs to be an investment, and I am a hungry person. I am hunger for knowledge. I am hungry for learning, and I am hungry for growth. And when I realized that Toastmasters offers you in the form of a buffet all of the offerings that you would want as a learner, I jumped in. And probably my hunger is not yet, I would say, I don't know what exactly to say. It's still on. I'm still hungry, and Toastmasters is still rolling out those wonderful dishes, and I am enjoying each and every nibble that I get out of every interaction that I take. So yes, my wife pushed me to Toastmasters, and the fact that I can learn from almost anything that I do at Toastmasters is what keeps me going. Over to you.
So it's quite cliche. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. That's what I would like to say here, because she pushed you to be a Toastmaster. Now, can I please have Venkata on the spotlight, please? Venkata, I would like to know, was there any quality that you took from your personal life to becoming a club ex-com role or a district role? So something that your quality that you believe that your personal, which you anyway practice, which would work in your leadership role. Is there any incident that you can share?
Thank you, Sunita. Yes, one quality I always like is to be patient enough. Whether at work or at home or at Toastmasters, I like to be very patient enough to listen to the people and don't respond and don't react till they themselves come up with a solution. This is how even at work also I can say it helped me a lot. When you give a chance to the people to come out with solutions, they will come up with a lot of fantastic ideas. Similarly, at my club, when I joined in Hyderabad, particularly at that time, there were only 3 Toastmasters club. My club was the first community club about to charter, not chartered yet.
Okay.
When I joined, attended the club meeting, after a couple of meetings, I had a call from one of the leaders then to attend the XCOM meeting. I don't know what XCOM was also at that time. So they invited me, I went there. Just the whole meeting, just I was listening. During the discussion, they said, please talk. I said, I'm listening. They said, this is one of the skills you require as a Toastmaster. Then I said, I have plenty. No, don't worry. I have a lot of skill as a listener. Like that, throughout my Toastmasters journey, I was a listener. And as I listened to my leaders then, I was the charter treasurer of my club. That journey really taught me a lot. Lot means lot. During those times, not these online transfer of money was not there at that time, that much. So whenever I have to collect my club members club fee, during my lunchtime, I used to travel to their office and collect it. My fellow leaders used to tell, why are you going? Ask them to come to your office and hand it over the check or cash. Then I said, this is the opportunity for me to meet and know the people better. That I utilized it very well. So I made a lot many friends in my club. I always believe in bonding. Bonding helps you a lot. If you want to have a strong club, you need to have a lot of bonding among the members. These are the opportunities one has to utilize. So I utilize that. I have a fantastic rapport with all my club members even till now. That is same thing is happening even at district level also. So that is one thing I believe you need to have bonding among members. You have to utilize these opportunities to bond with the members and talk to them, become great friends. Toastmasters for me is to meet people and become friends. One more thing, I think you asked, Brilliant, what made you to continue? I will also like to answer the same thing. See, I joined Toastmasters at the age of 45. So almost all my club members were around 20s and 30s. I never felt I was 45. So I realized Toastmasters is the only place I can feel I am young. So still I feel I'm young, so I'm continuing as a Toastmaster. Fondly in Hyderabad, people call me the youngest Toastmaster, though I am 60 plus. Thanks to Toastmasters. Thank you, Sunita.
You definitely are the youngest. I'm sorry, Ravi. You have to be in line. Venkata is the youngest. Youngest of all. Don't worry. We see you as the youngest in any case. So I take it that patience and the love of bonding with people is your personal trait that you took along to Toastmasters, right? Okay. So can we have Ravi on spotlight, please? Ravi, did you get into any of the leadership role by chance or by force?
Oh, now before I answer that, of course, Venkata is younger or younger brother. That is no doubt about it. Uh, of course, he's younger than me. Okay, coming back, for me, it was always force. I just like Brilliant's wife has forced him into Toastmasters. My then wife, my boss, has forced me into Toastmasters. And my manager wanted me to push to go into Toastmasters because I was wasting too much of time when I joined the company. And similarly, when I've taken up the role of VPPR, I only took it up because the VPPR is traveling for further studies, right? And our club has a very interesting tradition because our presidents are always senior directors of the organization, and we used to be the VPPRs and VPHs, and we used to run the entire show. But that role of a president somehow was always a senior director or somebody like that. It was a pretty interesting case back then. So I was the first non-director who was a president, and I felt as if I am a director. So it was like that. So for me it was fun at club level. Although there were many things that I've learned, but for me, serving in at club at that age when you're 20, 21 was all about fun. And area director I wanted to because I lost a contest, and I was very angry. I was like, after division contest, how could I lose? HTM, this Hyderabad Toastmaster people, they all have legends, and all the district officers are there in HTM. So everybody who comes from HTM wins. And I was of the anger guy. I want to become an area director and change this. But after that, I no other position, whether it is a division director or into the trio, never did I ventured. The culprit was Chandra to push me into the trio. And the culprit of division director was also Chandra and another person called Srini who pushed me there, or rather pulled me there.
So there was a push and pull happening with you throughout your journey.
Yeah, and it is neither of it is me.
Okay, great. But I have one more question to you. But is there a kind of discipline you follow to simultaneously work on completing both your speech goals as well as your leadership goals?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I was talking about this the other day. I think I've become a better speaker as I was leading. I was not a good speaker at all, to be very frank, when I started off. Because see, the speeches that we generally give is all that gyan, right? The motivation, inspiration speeches that we give at our clubs, and that always fell on my empty ears. I mean, they did not make any sense to me because I wasn't seeing all those. But for me, when I was in leadership, I've seen scenarios that just boggle me. For example, I've seen how vulnerable Chandra is. So Chandra, when I started, was like a giant, right? And Venkata was like, oh, Venkata is like a demigod, and Brilliant is somebody who is a Greek god for everybody in Hyderabad, right? So they are like huge legends. But when I work with them, I've seen flaws in everybody. It's like, oh, okay, so which means that they are still normal people, isn't it? So I started to understand what I am speaking. I started to realize the concepts that I'm trying to put in my speech as I was leading and I working with everyone. So for me, I haven't. My speech journey is more about my speeches as an area director, division director, or trio. I think those are better speeches that I've given than the speeches I've given at my club.
So are we going to see you compete again?
I did, and I lost this season.
Oh.
That's the reason why I'm giving you this explanation.
So I guess you should just keep going.
Yes, I should.
All right. Thank you, Ravi, for that. Now, can I please have the spotlight on CSK?
Yes, Sunita.
Hi, CSK. Now, what, according to you, are the must-have skills that a leader should have?
Okay. So in my opinion, I think the first thing a leader should have as a must have is value for time or respect for time. See, you need to be very clear about what you will do with every minute of your time. The reason is you don't get a second chance to leave a first impression. Now, if you really boil that down, it comes down to that one moment where you interact and engage with a person. It doesn't matter who you're interacting with, but it impacts that person a lot. Now, if you as a leader don't respect the time, then you are just doing things for the sake of doing, and you really don't value what you're doing. So that's the number one thing. And personally, for me, time is of a premier, and I do all I can in my capacity to guard my time. So I don't allow people to run all over it. The second thing, okay, so you want me to tell two or three or just one?
Whatever you think is most important.
Okay, so
So
most
if
important is time.
it requires the same.
Most important is
Okay.
time, no doubt about it.
So speaking of time, what is your day-to-day investment in terms of time for Toastmasters? How much time do you keep aside specifically for Toastmasters?
So this is like currently the situation is different. But if I was, I mean, if you're asking about what I used to do when I was in the district leadership and when I was an active Toastmaster, I might have an answer for that. You want me to do that?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Because off late, at least for the last 10 months, I'm quite inactive and I'm only there on and off. So I don't think that answer is relevant for the audience. Now, going back when I was active in Toastmasters, when it comes to leadership, I think I had a good 2 hours carved out of my daily schedule for Toastmasters. Now, this does not mean that was for attending meetings. This was about the thought process, the thinking, the ways and means to achieve the goals, and more importantly, one of the words which was already used by Venkata sir is listening. Because when you are a leader, let me tell you this: it's not about the impression you make, but it is about the expression you take. So you have to have that opportunity, or you have to give yourself the opportunity to express the real self. So when I say the real self, you got to be authentic. You cannot, you may use good language, you may be well groomed, you may try to impress people with your personality. All of that are just consequences of your authenticity. If your authentic self is not aligned to your opposite person's request, if opposite person's interest and opposite person's priorities, then I don't think you will be able to do it. So as a Toastmaster, I had a couple of hours every day which was given away to analyze, to observe and to listen and also to plan ahead. I keep telling this. I think some of them who have been with me at coffee table conversations, they know this. I had a book where I had slots for all the district leaders, okay, much before even I became the district director. And then I kind of, I never used to write in a pen in that book. I always use a pencil and write names. And I must have erased the name some 20-25 times for each column. But the fact is to get the right team in place by the time I become the district director. It so happened that some of them who I thought they will be like going for this, not for the elected roles, but for the selected roles. It so happened that those guys or those people were not even active in Toastmasters. But then that's not my problem. My problem is I have to put in the effort. Now, if you ask me where did I get the time to do all that, it came out of that 2 hours. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, that brings us to the end of our first session. And it will be open now for questions to the audience. I request audience to type in their questions in the chat box and we will ask the panel for the same. But my takeaway at the end of this first section would be that you don't get any commission in Toastmasters. You may lose weight if you really work hard. Then keepo, faco, changeo can become one of your motto. There are no challenges in Toastmasters, there are only opportunities. And overall, this is a supportive family who's helping a baby District 98 grow into a toddler, then to a teenager, and probably an adult. Patience and time, both absolutely important, and listening skills overall for a district leader or for any leader for that matter. Now we open for questions to the audience. Anyone who would like to post a question to anyone on the panel, kindly please type in the chat. Hardik, can you help me if there are any questions?
None yet. We can have the poll in the meanwhile while audience
All
can
right,
type their
fine. So
questions.
first, let's just have a poll. Now, during the initial days, when I did not know what a district director does, I used to do this when meeting them at a conference. Touch their feet for blessings, smile awkwardly and run in the opposite direction, nudge my friends to introduce them, or complain about the food. So there are enough audiences because they are actively participating in the poll but have no questions. Poll still going on. Okay, so the answer is they used to nudge friends to introduce them. Now, any one of you can share any incident that has probably happened that people have spoken to you and then suddenly realized that you're district director and somebody else just wanted an intro with you just because you were a district director. Anyone has any story that they can share from the panel? Or anything else that has happened? Brilliant. Did anyone touch your feet for blessings because you were the district director?
Oh, I wish we could do that, but I personally don't like that as a concept because you don't need to bend, you need to just be flexible. I believe that instead of bending, you blend with people. So, I would share one experience, and I think while we laugh it off, it's important to realize that while there is a large population who understands the concept of district, division, area, clubs, etc., there is still a majority left who doesn't care a damn about who you are. They will consider you as a member of Toastmasters. And I remember I was the LGM, which used to be the name for CGD, and I was in Pune for a contest, and I was one of the role players, and I was sitting in one corner room, and the chief judge walks into the room and starts talking. uh, I will not reveal the identity of this person, and the person starts blabbering and blabbering, and I just casually ask about two things which the chief judge was wrong about. And the chief judge just looks at me and says, "This is how we used to do in the Middle East, and this is what it is. And I don't know who you are, but if you have no role, please you may move out." So I pleasantly introduced myself and I said I am the Lieutenant Governor Marketing, and there was a pin drop silence for about a 30-second period. After which this person says, "I'm absolutely sorry, I had no idea, but now that you told me, I think what you said may be right." So it's a good feel to know that people don't really look up to you because there is a designation or a title. I feel happy when people don't look up to me and say, "Oh, that's a district director." They should come and tell me and say, "Arey, kya chal raha hai bhai?" I would love to have that, because that tells us that as an organization we are open, and each one of us in our respective roles, we would have had very similar kind of experiences where we met such people, and it's so good. It's so good to feel what they feel, and you get the I would say taza khabar from them, right from the horse's mouth, rather than saying, "Oh, there is a district director, so I don't need to share this." So when you are there with them as them, you get to know a lot, and it helps build bonds. And as Chandra was also mentioning about it, the need for building bond, and I think Venkata also added to it, reaching out to people and telling them that it's not about the title, but it's about you and me. That makes a difference, and I think I've been enjoying that. My role aside, I love to have fun every meeting, every session, including taking it to my corporate life whenever possible. I make sure that I lighten the moment, because we live in a stressful world where we are also scared of titles. We all say that we all should be a leader without a title, but here, unfortunately, I think uh, Venkata and I are the only old timers to say this, but we have seen people move from "I don't care about credit" to a system where everyone says credit milega to kaam karenge. So we have seen the shift, so we understand. I remember Venkata very clearly. I mean, he would have seen me as a baby in Toastmasters when I joined. He's much elder to me as a member of Toastmasters, while he's the youngest in Hyderabad and District 98. But reality is, we know how it is. We would do things because we loved it, and I think that's what made us build those bonds. We would look forward to the conferences. No titles, nothing.
Great. I think knowing you, I don't think you've ever revealed to anybody what your position is because you want to know the andar ka khabar or want to know the gossip. That's what I think that you have been doing, moving around in the crowd, knowing what the whole story is, and then keeping it to yourself. Okay, so I guess that's our first poll. I have a question from the audience. 1 minute. Now, who would like to take this? When each of you took up the district director role, how did you manage your office work? Did you have someone shadowing you since you may have had to travel extensively?
Chandra and
Okay.
I can take this. So Chandra, you start and then I'll add.
All right. So I think 2016 is when I actually took up the role of a district director, and that year, incidentally or coincidentally, happened to be a couple of developments at my other fronts. One, I was also elevated to the role of a CEO at my organization. Till then, I was the chief operating officer, but then I was made the CEO from that particular year. Secondly, I am also a part of an organization called Young Indians, CII Young Indians, and I became the chairman for the Hyderabad chapter the very year. So, if you look at it from that perspective, on that very year, I was having three executive roles. Now, the answer to that question is again going back to the point of time. I had no people, I mean, no one to kind of shadow it, because at the end of the day, you will not get any person to shadow you just because you have office. That's the one learning which we do in Toastmasters, that whatever may be your responsibilities, your role is your role and you got to live it up to it. But it also is an opportunity for us to learn. So I think, if I am not wrong, in my term as a district director, I had close to 60 plus officers. I still have that photograph in my house, the whole district team. and it was a hell a lot of time to do that photograph itself. So people who were there, the color coordination on the suits and the ties and the shirt and the way they were arranging height order. I had one guy, area director called Darshan Khanna. That guy, I mean, he's an hyperactive photographer, so he cannot allow even a strand of hair to go haywire. So that being said, so that team was actually my go-to team, so I had to go back to them for everything. My district finance manager, my uh, other members of the trio, so these are the people, they are there to support you. So if you are asking me to know, is this a easy job to do, I will say yes. The reason is it's well structured. So there are people who are there to do their jobs or their responsibilities, their contributions. But if you do not know how to leverage it, and if you want to bite more than what you can chew, then I think you are in trouble. So even without anything, you will get into a lot of unnecessary burdens, which is not supposed to be. So that's my take on leadership and how you can handle the role of a district director, balancing both office and Toastmasters. Over to you, brilliant.
With your permission, Sunita.
Yes.
Okay, so I had a tricky situation, honestly. In fact, when I got into the role of a district director, and this is important, I changed my job. Okay, now imagine changing a job, which means the job is new, and the transition period, I was working for an organization as director human resources where I had Singapore, Sydney, Dubai, India, covering almost all the time zones that could be there. Then I was pursuing my doctorate, which was also a time investment, and of course, family, which you cannot avoid. And then comes the big T, that is the Toastmasters, which kept me hooked on for a very long time. And unfortunately, I couldn't get to answer that question. The one thing that I have taken back from Toastmasters to life and integrated it well is the aspect of effectively utilizing the time that is available for you. And I have seen amazing leaders all through. I have learned a lot from how Chandra has been managing it. I have seen other district leaders in the past who have done it. I know that you can squeeze a lemon to the last drop, and that's what I do best. If I have those days, and again I go back to the credit non-credit part, if we had to attend a corporate club for a demonstrative meeting, it would be scheduled probably at around 4:30 or 5 in the evening. I would start my office day early, which meant that my time on the family would get reduced. So every time there was a possibility for me to integrate it, as I said earlier, it is not about but about blending. Chandra also mentioned about how I took Ved on stage, and I brought them to the family because they know that this is what I am doing. I am not out there in a club dancing and losing money over gambling, because the term club comes with a different mindset in the Indian context. So it is important that you blend some of these aspects. I remember very clearly when my new office was launched, Chandra and Arvind, we had a division contest. I took them to my new office because I had to be there for the inauguration. We inaugurated that, we spent some time, and then we went back to the division contest. So it was all about making sure that priorities are set right. And I think for me, very close to what Venkata said, and Chandra also mentioned about it, managing the time is an essence that every district leader should learn from Toastmasters and incorporate it in every aspect of life. And it is possible. It's not that no one can do it. Everyone can do it, and each one of us are doing it in our own respective spaces, but we can manage it much better than what we think. Over to you.
Sunita,
Sunita,
may
if
I
I
add?
may add,
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Ravi.
Yes, Ravi.
no, I think one simple thing for us lesser mortals who do not hold big positions like Chandra or Milian, for me, one simple logic: don't take a Toastmasters call when you are at your desk. They never ever take a Toastmasters call when you're at your desk. So that was my simple funda. You go into a conference room, or you go into a bathroom, or you get out of that place and then call, such that none of your managers would start thinking that this guy does nothing except Toastmasters, although you do a lot of things. That was my funda.
Sunita, with your permission, I would like to add. Is that fine?
Yes, Venkata. Yes, yes.
Mine is a different thing. So I advise everyone, anyone who are there and who are not there as any Toastmaster. Toastmaster is not my priority. For me, my priority is my profession and my family. And then any time is left, that is for Toastmasters. That is why I used to tell my team members at Toastmasters, during working hours, please don't call. I don't answer. It is a rule I set. Only if there is an emergency, please message me. When I time find, I will call you back. But I never like to answer calls or do Toastmasters thing during my working hours, because profession is for me, which is feeding me and my family. There is no question of spending any time from my profession to any other thing. Even I told my family members not to call me unless it is an emergency. So for my first priority is my profession, definitely then family. And then I used to work for Toastmasters after returning home. After my dinner, up to 2 o'clock, I used to work whenever there is a emergencies, there are important things. But never Toastmasters my priority. Sorry to say, though I was a district director, this was my priority. Toastmasters was not my priority. My profession was first, family, and then only Toastmasters. Whatever time I can spare for Toastmasters, I spare. Thank you, Sunita.
Thank you so much, Venkata, for that. I guess, Ravi, when you called yourself Lesser Immortals, with love, CSK had thrown a punch at you. I don't think you saw that. But having said that, can we move to the next section and let's try and make this more fun? We'll try and do this a rapid fire. I request the panel, I'll ask around maybe 4 to 5 questions and make this quick answers so that we can move on to each and every panel present here. So my first person who I'm going to target is Nitesh. Okay. Nitesh, to you. Your first impression when someone introduced Toastmaster to you?
Scared to death.
Okay. Remember any fun travel story as a district director?
Absolutely. Chicago. Ravi's smiling over
Can
there.
we quickly know what happened?
All right. So, Arvind, he had a couple of more beers than what was allowed. And remembering our childhood, I was railing down the stairs using the pole. All right. And Arvind decided to imitate me, but he fell down and he banged his head and it was bleeding. All right. So I could not control my laughter. Ravi and myself were laughing like hell. And Arvind is very jolly. He took it sportingly. He was also laughing. And we were running around the mall to find turmeric. Right. The emergency response team was on the spot telling Arvind that you have to go to the hospital and get stitches. All right. We were escorted in an ambulance. KP Jani was with us. We got into the ambulance. We went to the hospital and Arvind was given staples, and it costed $1,600 for three staples. $1,600. Right? We spent a couple of hours. That was my first brush, but amazing travel story. There are a lot of details that I will try to skip, but amazing travel story.
In Chicago on a Saturday evening,
Honestly.
in super traffic, we three along with KP Jani are in an ambulance rushing through the traffic, looking at what's going on, and Arvind, everyone inside the ambulance we were all laughing, and that guy was saying, "You have to be quiet. You have to be quiet." That was fun.
So I guess the lesson learned is if you have beer, just take the stairs. Don't try to come down like that. All right. One more question to you. What is your leadership style, Nitesh?
Affiliative. If I go by the pathways survey, affiliative is my leadership style.
Okay. Do you remember the title of your very first speech?
About me. That was the title.
Okay, great. Now, can I move on to Ravi? Ravi, has any of your family member ever asked you, do you get paid to be a Toastmaster?
Yeah, they do, of course. I think everybody asks. Everybody who doesn't know Toastmasters asks. I think more importantly, all of them ask because we are always in suits, right? So they are like, why the hell? How is he getting so much money to to buy those many suits? And every time it has to be there has to be a different one because it gets smelly over a period of time. So you tend to you tend to get to that question where do you get paid?
But so do you?
Why? Wish. I think I will be the highest paid district director if at that time when the market was good.
Okay. If not a Toastmaster, what would you have done with that free time?
I think I would have done my MBA. I would have completed my MBA, which I'm doing now. So that was a pending thing. That's the reason why I never wanted to come into the Toastmasters leadership. But time and situations gave me something else.
Okay. What is your leadership style when you were a leader?
I'm situational. I'm absolutely situational and task based. So I take what is given as a situation and then I change my leadership style that suits it. That's
Okay.
my biggest learning while I'm in Toastmasters. I don't have a style.
Okay, great. Can we move to Venkata?
Yes, Sunita.
How did you explain?
Sunita,
Yes.
before you go into, shall I answer one question you put to Nitesh? What was your
Sure.
interesting journey as a district officer, right?
Yes.
Something like that. Okay.
Travel
I had
journey,
a very,
travel journey.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had a very interesting thing. Anyone in the meeting had a ticketless travel in their lifetime?
If are you talking about air flight or bus?
Anywhere,
Bus I
whatever,
have.
bus, train,
Bus I
whatever.
have.
Very good.
Bus I
So
have. We like one of our friend would take the ticket and we would all pass it to each other and show it to the conductor and get
excellent,
off.
excellent. Anybody has
I
international
don't do it
ticketless travel?
anymore.
Anybody has international ticketless travel?
Anyone in the audience who've dared to do that? No, I don't think so.
I did as district director.
Wow.
These 3 tickets I always keep in my pocket. When I was in Denver, first day I went out, there was nothing. I went out in a local train. That was the first time I was, my first international visit to US. I went there, nobody was there. There are vending machines. I didn't know how to operate it. I tried with my credit card. I have 3 cards, card with 3 cards. Nothing came out. Somebody came in there. I asked him. He also tried, did not come out. He left. So I was trying. At one point in time, I looked up. On top of it, there were 3 tickets. These 3 tickets were there. Because I used 3 cards, I thought these 3 tickets came out. I traveled with these tickets. And on my return, when the ticket, while going, ticket collector did not come. When I was returning back, ticket collector came. She is a lady, well built. I saw a revolver also on her waist. She asked me, ticket, please. I coolly took it out and showed these 3. I told her, because I used 3 cards, I got 3. She checked up. Okay, you should have used only one, and she left. Immediately she came back. Again, she asked me, please show it. I showed it to her. She looked at me up and down and said, do you know these tickets are yesterday's? I checked up, it was there. Actually, the date was 16th only, the travel date, but the timing was midnight 2:59 a.m. I think somebody might have
Must be.
put these tickets there. I thought it was for me. When I used 3 cards, the tickets came. I told her, I almost begged her, See, this is, I'm coming from India. This is the first time I came. I didn't know. I tried this. This came. She looked up and down and said, "Okay, because you are an international travel, first time you are coming. I'm leaving you. You look the aged also. I think you are a senior citizen. Okay, I'm leaving you." You believe me, there are 10 stations afterwards. I sat very tightly. When will the train come, stops at my station? The minute it stopped, I ran out like anything, and the vehicle came from the hotel. I got into it. I was looking back from the window. Anybody is coming to catch me. This was one of my best experience as district director, internationally traveled without ticket in a train. Now we go ahead with your questions.
So I guess this was the only time you didn't mind somebody calling you senior citizen. Otherwise, you're young, right?
Luckily, thanks
Because,
for my gray hair, it saved me.
great. I think Toastmaster Saurabh has messaged me saying that when he'll be going to Denver, he wants those 3 tickets from you. So please keep it safe.
I
He's
don't
going to
think
try that.
this is my forever. It will be with me. I can't
It's a
share it with
memory.
you. Yeah.
Yes. Good. Okay.
You are mute, Sunita.
Is there a district officer you admire?
Of course, there are many district officer, because there are so many in the panel. I don't want to take one's name here. I take one name who was from my club. She was an area director. Her name is Bharati. She came into that role when it was required. The area director already appointed left. Ravi was district director at the time. I think he had chosen her.
Division director.
You are a division director. She's a grandmother. Remember, she's a grandmother. She took up that role. She performed her role without any credit throughout the year. Really fantastic. I admire her for her courage, for inspiring and motivating others to take up district officer role. She is one.
Great. How did you ever explain to your family and friends what Toastmaster really is?
If you want to be silent, if you want to listen, Toastmaster is the best place how to do that. Because most of the problems in life is because we don't have patience. We don't want to listen to anyone. Only we want to speak, we want to express, we want to tell others many things, but we don't want to listen. Toastmaster is the only place you will learn those skills and be a better person in life.
I take it that the listener role has come up because of you really talking about being a good listener. Many clubs are following the listener role now. Okay, can we please have the spotlight on CSK? Thank you, Venkata.
Yes.
CSK. Your first impression when someone introduced you to Toastmaster first?
Textbook. I came across Toastmasters in 2001 because my college had a club in every section in Bangalore. So somebody said that you will learn Toastmaster public speaking by attending this club. I said, I don't want to study more. So I did not even join. I joined after 10 years. 2011 I joined, but I came to know about Toastmasters in 2001. So for me, it was theory and textbook. So I did not realize the value of it for 10 years, 1 decade.
Oh God. Okay. Now, has any of your family member asked you, do you get paid to be a Toastmaster?
No, actually, we don't have such conversations in my family because they have not asked me about what do you get when you do something. So I don't think they have asked me that. But the one question which keeps or which was asked all the time is why do you have to do all of this here in Toastmasters? Like we were. I mean, I'm sure even now it is the situation, but now you have video calls. Back then we had con calls. So night 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, you had con calls, and I am for one an early sleeper. I can't stay awake after 9:30, 9:45, 10. So when I was like putting headphones and walking around in the corridor, because if I sit, I'll fall asleep. So I'm walking around and I'm talking to people. My mom, my dad is like, "What are you doing? Which school runs at 9 o'clock in the night, 10 o'clock in the night? Which college has this issues? Why are you doing all this?" And I said Toastmasters. They say, "What is all this in Toastmasters? I thought you were here to give speeches. Why are you talking to people on phone?" So these are the questions which kept asked, but nothing about money.
Oh, okay. What is your leadership style when you were leading?
I think my leadership style has always been principle centered leadership, which I call as the right way leader. So never compromise on your values, never compromise on your beliefs, never compromise on your principles. So my leadership style is principle centered leadership.
Oh, good. Do you remember the title of your first speech that you ever gave
No,
in
because
Toastmasters?
I came into Toastmasters, as I said, as a speech crafter. So 10 years ago, I knew Toastmasters, and I joined Speechcraft thinking it is not Toastmasters. And then finally, I realized that Speechcraft is a part of Toastmaster. So it's like a different journey for me.
Okay, great to know. Now, can we have a spotlight to Brilliant?
If time permits, after this, I want to share with you one story or the travel story because I cannot resist. I want to tell you this after Brilliant is done.
I guess I think we should have had a travel story section. I'm sure Brilliant also has something. Yes, we will try and finish it quickly because we definitely want to hear what you all have been up to as district directors when you traveled. So, Brilliant to you. What is your leadership style?
Wow. I would call myself as an adaptive TTM. It's not table topics
That's
master.
another acronym. You are going to explain it to us.
It's an adaptive but a tough taskmaster. I mean, very similar to what Chandra said. If you know what the end objective is, I would want to make sure that we do it the right way and we achieve it. I'm flexible, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I want to reach that goal. If you look at the strengths finder, it clearly outlines my key strengths as competition, significance, adaptability, strategic, and achiever. So if you put everything in place, adaptiveness is the key factor for me. I have been privileged, I would say, to have the honor of working with some extremely high-end taskmaster, the so-called slave drivers, to some people like Venkata, who has been extremely democratic to say, okay, let's look at every aspect and then take a call. So I believe that my style would be adaptive TTM, adaptive but a tough taskmaster.
Okay. If not a Toastmaster, what would you have done with your free time?
Two things. Probably ended up in modeling and photography. Unlike Nitesh, I too had one stint where I was lucky enough to be featured in a Times of India fresh face hunt, and the limelights look shinier from the outside, but when you get into it, it looks very deep and dirty and dark. So wow, that's a triad. So I did not want to get into it, and I said, let me focus on what I want to do, and that's where here I am. But photography is one hobby which I would have loved to pursue, and I keep doing it right now. And thanks to Toastmasters, the observation skills that I have has sharpened a lot these days. And today I was just outside and I found two more posters which will come out very soon for all of you.
Okay. One club member who has impressed you, not necessarily a member of your home club.
Yeah, extremely. And in fact, we all know this, right? A leader is a one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way, right? So this the way is no one but Chinmay Dave. Chinmay Dave is an ex-member of TCS Maitri Toastmasters Club, and I would say I look up to him as a member. All through my journey, I have been prodding him to take up credit roles, but he said, "Nay, let me do it." And he's been a part of my council every time, every single time, in a supporting role, a non-credit officer role. And there was one instance where he, along with his competitor, he was mentoring his competitor for a contest. Now, these are true values that I would want to look up to in a mentor. And I don't know if he would be watching this, but honestly, if I were to look at as one member who's the ideal member who we all should look up to and emulate, that would be the one who goes the way, shows the way, and knows the way, Chinmay the way.
In mind the way. Okay. Now, in this virtual world, have you ever accidentally double booked yourself and attended two meetings together?
In fact, the other way around. In fact, I have not double booked, but I have booked my slots in the wrong day. So this meeting was actually scheduled in my calendar for yesterday, and I told the previous meeting team members to hurry up because I did not have time, and I have to take a hard stop at 4:45 because I have to get in here. It was only later in the day that I realized that there was a goof up when we actually caught up on that call, that it was for today. But I think double booking is not yet happened. What mentally happens is because we lose track of the time zones, you tend to calendarize it, but sometimes you really don't look up at the time. With Google and Outlook, I think the tools have been very supportive these days. I just make sure nowadays, after the incident of yesterday, to clearly look at what is it that date time where I wait in a meeting room half an hour to realize that there is no one there and the meeting is for tomorrow.
Okay. I guess that's it for our rapid fire, but I will let CSK spill some beans on a travel story.
Okay, so this is really quick. Okay, so this was, I think, we were all we have this tradition in D98 that whenever we travel, we try to stay in the same room, all men. So we always have the triple sharing, and we do whatever we can so that we are together for the bonding and for the time pass. Because when you travel, you really don't have much time for yourself, and all the time you have is all about talking and attending sessions and all that. So when we did this, I think it was Brilliant, Arvind, and myself. We were in this place, and I prefer a dry washroom. So I want the washroom to be dry when you use it. So I said I'll wake up morning, and anyway I'm used to getting up quite early. So I said, let me do this. Let's set the order. So I will go first. Then Brilliant said, I can't wake up. I will aram say wake up and do it. So when you guys are all ready, just wake me up 10-15 minutes. I'll be there and do it. So we did not even check with Arvind. We assumed that Arvind is going to be 2 and now Brilliant is going to be 3 because 1 and 3 were fine. So we slept, and I woke up at around 5:30, 5:45, and then I went into the washroom, and the washroom is wet, completely wet. Okay, and in fact even the fog and the thing is there. I came out to the bedroom and I saw all these guys are sleeping. They're on their bed. Okay, so now I am wondering as to who can come into our room, and the washroom is wet because it was all neatly decided previous evening. I again went back, thinking I'm not awake fully. Let me check, and it is actually wet. And I had no choice, and I didn't want to wake these people up, so I went and managed somehow, and I got ready and I came. And then I told Brilliant, it's time to go now. You quickly take a shower and let's get ready and get down for the breakfast. And by the time Brilliant went into the washroom and he was coming out, Arvind is ready in his suit from the dressing room. I asked Arvind, I was like, when are you going to take bath, boss? What is happening? He's like, I finished my bath early morning. I said, did you take bath and then you are sleeping? He says, yeah, that's what I do. I took bath and I was sleeping because I knew these you guys are going to be ready only by 8:30. So what will I do from 6 o'clock in the morning? So that's one story for you.
So, Sunita, I think we should not let Arvind's absence be fed. So, this is one very interesting story about Arvind that I want to share. Chandra, Arvind, and I, we were in Vegas. Uh, Chandra is a vegetarian, Arvind is a vegetarian, and I can eat anything that is palatable. So, it's about 10:30 in the night in Vegas, and there is a hunger pang. And Chandra says, I want to eat something which is vegetarian. Here everything is like pizza, and I don't want all of that. So there is this young gentleman, elder to Venkata. He says, let me do something. Green t-shirt and a checkered lungi. This man goes out. I don't know what he does. At around 11:15, he's back with dal chawal. And that's what Arvind is famous for. And in fact, if you ask for travel stories, one thing that we all can vouch for is, irrespective of the place, there is one thing that you will know for sure, that what is the best thing you can get in this place, thanks to Arvind. Arvind will know what is the delicacy, where you can find it, and what is the best time to find it. And he did that in Vegas. Imagine going out in a lungi. So we always keep joking with Arvind, saying that we don't know what he did. He went out in a lungi and came back with dal chawal.
Truly, I guess there is no missing Arvind on the panel because everyone has a travel story with him. I'm sure that he's going to start getting texts that how much did you get hurt when you had beer and came down rolling from the stairs, and a lot more. So I guess that brings us. That's the end of the rapid fire round. And in the interest of time, I do have some leadership questions still for each one of you. I would just request, as I ask, if we can just keep it to the point and in 2 lines so that we can wrap this up well. Okay, so moving on, and this section we are trying to call it Get to the Point. So brilliant. Let me catch you, Oni, first. Did you ever during your tenure felt that you made a wrong decision and perhaps might have hurt someone's feeling in the interim?
Thank you for this question, Sunita. I don't know who gave you this question, but as leaders, it's natural that emotions tend to take a front seat when you feel things are not going the way you want to. And I have had a couple of instances where I felt that I have been too harsh or too brash or doing this. And that is one key lesson I took back. When you are in conflict about whether you should align with a person or a people related aspect or the process, always know the purpose. So if you know the purpose, then you will understand whether you stick with going with the people part of it or the process part of it. Without knowing the purpose, it doesn't help. So being emotional is something which you need to isolate. I have had instances where brushes have happened, but I think that's a lesson for me.
Thank you for that. Now, moving on to Nitesh. Nitesh, I happened to read the Communicate November edition, and you went on to say that among all the qualities, discipline stood out for you. How important do you think it is for a leader to make sure that rules are followed?
Absolutely, Sunita. And I would like to refer back to the question that was asked by an audience member, that how did you manage district director role with your job and personal life? And if you would have noticed, Brilliant, Ravi, Chandra, Venkata, they all created rules for them. There was a discipline that they followed. If it wouldn't have been there, they wouldn't have succeeded in any of the things, be it district director or professional life or personal life. So it just shows how important it is to create rules for yourself. All the successful people in the world definitely have a routine to follow. They create rules for themselves. From childhood, we are being taught what is right, what is wrong. You don't do that, you don't do this. These are the etiquettes. From in your schooling life, you are taught rules to create for yourself. And that is how, when you create discipline for yourself, you can achieve a lot more rather than just leading a mediocre life, not able to enjoy anything. So that is why I feel, discipline is very important in anyone's life. Over to you, Sunita.
Thank you so much. The CSK, I would like to know from you now. Once you chose to follow, sorry, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Once you chose to follow the leadership path, did you maintain a discipline or regime for yourself from an ex-com to district officers and finally to a district director? Did you increase the time that you spent working on Toastmasters from just being a club member to a district officer and later to district director?
No, I don't think so. Rather, I would like to put it this way that it was not a kind of a routine or a regime, but it's all about being available and accessible. So, the one thing, if I can remember from those days, was every Sunday I was available between 3 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon for a call with your district director. So any member from any club could pick up the phone and dial your district director was the initiative, where any member could dial the district director and speak. The idea was not about giving them quick fix solutions. The idea was all about being accessible and giving them that assurance that we are here to listen, we are here for you. So some days it so happens that 3 to 4 being the stipulated time, you don't even get a single call, but somebody calls you at around 5:30 the same evening and say, I'm dialing the district director, can we talk? So I mean, you really cannot say that no, your time is up, so you've got to be available and you will be doing. But the idea was, in terms of putting some systems and standards, we try to be sending out the message together as a team that we are available to listen. So that was one thing which I remember doing. Apart from that, try to be as much possible actively involved with maybe taking roles at the club. Like for example, I remember I was a tally counter in many of the contests at the club level, at the area contest. I was also trying to be out of the judge role, but still be there supporting them, awards, coordinating the certification and all that. So trying to be there and tell them that we are members first, officers later.
Okay, that's a beautiful way to put it. Now, can I have Ravi on spotlight, please? I think this round is becoming more of a rapid fire round than the rapid fire round. Okay, so do you believe that getting the right people in your team is important, or creating the right environment so that any person can feel that they are the right person in the team?
I think what is the choice you have? That's the real question as a leader. What is the choice? What are the variables that you're working with is an important thing to understand. And it is also important that you are not changing the variables or traditions or practices to suit you. And if you and if say for example, I hope you're all watching The Crown. It's a Netflix series. In that, Margaret Thatcher comes to the Queen and asks her to dissolve the Parliament, and she says, "Why will I dissolve the Parliament?" Margaret Thatcher says, "Because you have the power to dissolve the Parliament." And the Queen asks, "Just because you have power, can you dissolve the Parliament?" There is a difference between power and authority. So for me as a leader, what are the choices do I have? So for me, when I have to select people, I got the opportunity to select people. I do everything in my capacity to get the right people on the team. But once I did that, it does not matter how they perform, what they do, etc. I have to create the right environment for them to sustain. And I think that is more important. You cannot distinguish between what is important. Everything is important at its place and at its time. So if you have the choice, whatever choices you have to select or create the environment, you have to do as a leader. You really don't have, I think, a say in there.
Okay, thank you. And that's a beautiful way of saying that it is important, because I think each one of us is different. Each one of us have different positives and negatives. And as a leader, it becomes the leader's responsibility to make sure that we create an environment where any people and any person can adjust to and try and become a better person and bring in their best.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ravi, for that. Can I have Venkata now on spotlight, please? Venkata, for you, I would like to ask, do you think that only professionals in some capacity or the other can lead the district? Or do you think even retired personnel can do a very good job? And I'm not asking you this because I can see gray hair, but...
I'm retired. You mean I am not eligible? Okay. Jokes apart. See, in Toastmasters, whoever enters into Toastmasters is definitely eligible for any role. Because we are all here to learn both communication and leadership skills. Unless we take up these roles, we don't learn. When we are choosing, yes, I don't know what do you mean by professional. Anybody training, or what do you mean by professional? First of all, I don't understand. Anything
a working
specific in your mind?
No, just a working professional. Because I believe that
So
a lot of people have this idea that Toastmaster helps only professionals, whereas I believe that Toastmaster also helps in personal life and beyond. So I just wanted to get an idea of, or make members understand that in spite of what role you are playing in life or professional, Toastmasters is a good way to go ahead.
to be eligible to become a Toastmaster is only just 18 years of age. Right. Second, if you want to take up some role, there are some eligibility conditions. If you have those, that's it. You are eligible for that role. Not the professionals you are talking about. It doesn't matter. I already told you the Bharti from our club who took up area director's role. She was a grandmother when she took up that role. She was a homemaker. That's it. Anybody who has intention to learn from Toastmasters these communication leadership roles, they are eligible to take up this role. Somebody doesn't want a leadership track, then fine. That's up to them. But if you want to learn both these things, you have to take up these roles. Anybody, everybody who enters into Toastmasters. Thank you,
Great.
Sunita.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I guess we have 15 minutes left, so I will move on to the final questions and final words from each district director. I would now like to have, since Venkata is already on spotlight, let me just ask you one thing. How has being a district leader helped you outside of Toastmasters?
Okay. See, whether you are a district leader or not, from Toastmasters, we learn so many skills. Whether you observe those skills you have or not, people around you definitely will observe. When I was still in service, I was a Toastmaster since 2005, and I was a Toastmaster in District 82, and I was a Toastmaster in District 41, and Toastmaster in District 98. I took up all these many district officer roles in all these three districts. How it helped me, I tell you, nobody in my office know that I am a Toastmaster. There is an organization. I belong to that organization. I spend my time there. My state head, who is called Chief Postmaster General, there were some products going to be introduced at that time. I was not in a higher rank position at that time, just in the very, I can say, lower management level at that time. He called me and asked me to address the press to introduce those products. What I'm trying to tell you is whatever skills you are going to get from Toastmasters that you may not know, you may not observe, but people around you will observe it, and definitely you will be recognized, and your recognition will be given. This is what one experience I have for so many things. My friend, my family members, my relatives. See, there is a different Venkata whom they knew earlier.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much. Can I please have the spotlight on CSK? CSK, since you're from the education background, and nowadays we do have a lot of college clubs as well, I would like you to probably try and let the students know how is communication and leadership skill going to help them in their life, and why Toastmaster is a club that they should join rather to hone these both skills.
Okay. So I would like to tell you this, which I keep telling to my teachers and my colleagues at workplace. It's the gate that makes the biggest noise or the loudest noise gets the oil. The gate that makes the loudest noise gets the oil. What does that mean? The person who can express or communicate will always get their way. It may be in their interest, it may not be in their interest. That's a different story. We are not talking of outcome, we are talking about the input. So, coming to students, today, if you look at it, everything is all about how are you able to communicate in the outside world, whether it is written, whether it is oral, whether it is non-verbal, verbal, gestures, whatever it is. Now, when it comes to students, the one side of communication is ability to speak, ability to read, ability to write, ability to listen. The other side of communication is ability to perceive. So now when I'm talking to you, I should also be in a position to anticipate what is that you're going to talk back. And that will happen when I'm equally invested in the whole conversation. So for students today, that is the biggest missing link for growing up people, because what is happening is the tools with which they are playing is one way communication. So they are only able to express. Look at Facebook, look at Twitter, look at Insta, look at any other gadget. They are able to share their status. They are able to share their what's on my mind. They are able to share their feelings. I like it, I don't like it, whatever. Now, if the opposite person responds, they don't know or they have no clue as to how do you receive it in a graceful manner. I mean, you're living in a situation where the president of the United States of America has a problem to accept that he is got defeated in a graceful manner. Now, what is that student taking back? Because the problem is it's one way. Now, coming to the point of Toastmasters or communication, is this is exactly the whole thing, right? Because the cornerstone of Toastmasters is feedback, evaluation. It is about telling you that you are good, but you can become better. And that is where the learning is. That is where the $1 million question lies. So in Toastmasters, the benefit for students is you not only get to share your feelings, but you also get to know what are others feelings. So that's why I would strongly recommend for students of all age groups to go through this program only with the intention that they know where they stand, rather than they find that harsh reality coming down on them when they think or then they get the feedback that they're not good enough. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, CSK. I believe that a lot of college clubs are now coming up, and they are coming strong. So I believe slowly and steadily, yes, Toastmaster is getting as much as popular even with students. Now, next, can I ask Ravi his, can I please have Ravi on Spotlight? Sorry. Yeah. Ravi, do you think leadership is a practicable and learnable skill like communication?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I think more than leadership, it is a parameters of leadership that is more important, because leadership is broad. You lead your own family if you're the head of the family. You lead a class if you're a class monitor. If you would lead at some point of your own life. So leadership is a very broad term, but if you carefully observe throughout, everybody said this one thing, that you will be an active listener. Listening is a skill that you are going to learn. But do you understand how difficult it is to mentor somebody or to make somebody a good listener? It's not easy. It's not at all easy. So although we take it, okay, good listening is just able to understand. It is not about understanding the grammar or the words that somebody is speaking. It has a whole theory behind it. And I think some of the skills that you would learn when you are a Toastmaster or in the leadership cycle of the Toastmasters, you pick up those skills. Say, for example, the time that I spent with some of these gentlemen in the panel and with everybody, and the ability, I think one of the abilities that I always was very proud of myself is to absorb their learning. Gave me that that flexibility to be able to understand whatever they are saying. They need not explain me much. They tell, this is what it is, I understand. Whether it is Arvind, whether it is Venkata, whether it is Brilliant, or whether it is Chandra, all the district directors I worked with. Now, that is a huge skill that you would learn while you are in Toastmasters leadership. That is, if you are willing to learn. Being a listener, you can make somebody a good speaker. You can mentor somebody to a contest, but it is very, very difficult to make somebody a good listener. And that's the more you can go to anybody, Harvard, Stanford, wherever it is. Nothing can make you a good listener. But if you invest yourself in Toastmasters and you want to be a good listener, you give it time, you make sure that opportunities arise by taking up opportunities, then you will be a good listener. Thereby learning a trait of leadership that you can, transfer into your professional or your personal life.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Before we move on to the very first district director and our current district director to make comments, can we just have a quick poll? Hardik, can you please launch the poll? Now, why should one take up a leadership role? Your options are, since I cannot win at contests, I can hand over the trophy. I guess that's one for you, Ravi. For everyone to know me, nobody else was taking it up, so I took it up. I'm already a leader. I just need a few followers. That sounds like you, Hardik. Okay, the poll is going on full swing. I guess the winner in this option is nobody else was taking it up. Did any one of you take it up because of that? Because no one was taking it up and you had to?
Yes.
Ravi has to say, Ravi was forced right into all the positions except for club officer positions. Okay, so I guess we know who this is for then. Okay, moving on. Let me please have Brilliant on Spotlight. Brilliant. I guess we already know, but I think the secret of balancing Toastmasters, professional and family life. What is the secret? I mean, how can one practice this?
So, slightly against what Venkata had said, the prioritization for me has been a bit different. It's family first, then comes professional life, and then Toastmasters and everything else. The reason I say this is you have one family. You can definitely get another job. You can be a part of Toastmasters anytime you want. You can get into any club anywhere in the world, any district. What is important for us as members, leaders to remember is the fact that you need to schedule and prioritize. Nitesh spoke about how each one of us as leaders have had our own priorities. But when there is an emergency and the family needs you, you need to be there. I remember I was in one of my club meetings delivering a session and I was expected to stay back. But Sid had fallen off and he broke his arm. Because I was delivering the session, my mobile was in mute. I couldn't get the message. So Sunil Agarwal, who was sitting in the last row, he got a message via Arvind. So that message was relayed to me. I concluded the session and I rushed back. So we need to understand that you need to prioritize it. Yes, I would have loved to be there because there was some recognition which was planned for me, but my family needed me, so I had to rush. Same goes for your work. You need money, whether we like it or not. We need money to survive, we need money to enjoy, we need money to do whatever we want to, and we have to have a means to earn our bread and butter so that we can enjoy the toast and jam, as I would like to say. So family, then comes Toastmasters, then comes work, and then Toastmasters. Over to you, Sunil.
Thank you so much, Brilliant. And now to the current district director of District 98, Nitesh. Any encouraging words to the members who are still contemplating on the question, is leadership for me? What would you like to tell them?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sunita. I think I'll take back to the polling question. The reason that answer won, because we see something in you. It's not always that you're able to realize your own potential. For that reason, Chandra saw something in Ravi. Brilliant saw something in someone else saw something in me. That is why, we are in district. So there will always be someone who is helping you get onto that leadership journey. Leadership, I mean, is leadership for you? If you're ready to take on all the challenges, feel lonely at the top, be blamed for everything that is going on, like to be around people, have conversation with people, uh, even a smallest mistake will be amplified like you have killed someone. So if all the baggage that comes with leadership, if you enjoy that, absolutely leadership is with you. And this is you should thrive in leadership. You should not try to manage leadership. If you try to manage leadership, then it's going to get very difficult. If you go along with the flow, learn the true essence of leadership is about, like Simon Sinek said, a very famous motivational leader and an author, that leadership is all about taking care of the people who are taking care of the task. All right. So it's all about people that matters to you. If you enjoy all these things, absolutely leadership is for you, and you should definitely go ahead and try it out.
Thank you so much, Nitesh. I guess we are at a closing time, and I would like to thank each one of you for coming on this panel and making this actually into a more fun session than only about leadership. Thank you for all the travel logs that you all shared with us. I'm sure that you have more, and we should definitely do another symposium just for travel logs, I guess, and nothing else, because I'm sure that from where this has come right now, there's more, and we would be really like waiting to learn more from you and hear more from you and have fun. Having said that, I would probably, in short, say that what we learned today in 2 hours from each one of you is that I had this question, right? Nitesh, I was going to ask one of you, was it lonely at the top? But looking at the way that each one of you were answering the other questions and saying that how each one of you were always there for each other, I don't think you all were ever lonely at the top. And I get the feeling that, yes, leadership, like even very beautifully that Ravi put it, we can learn. It's a skill and it is necessary. Listening is another skill which is essential. Making sure that we know our priorities, like Brilliant very beautifully put it, that put your family first, then comes Toastmaster, your work, your Toastmaster. But we have to make sure that we have to value time, like CSK said, that that's the most important for a leader, because if we don't value time, we don't know how to prioritize, we don't know how to divide our time. And to the youngest Toastmaster of Hyderabad, I would just love to say that whatever wisdom that you shared with us today, with your experience, and being humble and saying that everybody else did the job while I did nothing, was too modest. And we know that that's one trait that even a leader should take ahead. So thank you once again to each one of you, Brilliant, CSK, Ravi, Venkata, and Nitesh, for this beautiful session that we had today. And that's it. Have a good